Welcome to Serenity Wealth Now with Chris Cooper. This is not your typical financial radio show. As a licensed CPA, insurance agent, and investment advisory representative, Chris coaches his clients on a holistic view of financial well-being with an objective of providing a complete financial strategy to fund life's goals. Chris is here to guide you down the path to the financial serenity you deserve. Now, here's Chris Cooper.
Good morning, folks. Happy Sunday. All right, we are almost out of winter. I'm excited. I am done with it. We've had some nice little breaks, some warmer weather here coming up. Super Bowl's ending. We got the Olympics that are kind of going to be wrapping up, and then we're going to be transitioning over into the spring. And so always good to have that time. It's important. Winter kind of stinks, I'll be honest. And so we're going to spend a little bit of time talking with a wonderful charitable organization, local, which is always important. And to do that, we've got a special guest in joining me, Katie Lyczak. How are you?
Hi, good. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, so Katie is with the Sparrow's Nest. And Katie, tell us a little bit about what the Sparrow's Nest is all about.
Yeah, so we are a local nonprofit based out of O'Fallon. We offer two programs. We have our Children's Center and our Family Center.
Mm-hmm.
At the Children's Center, we offer free or low-cost childcare to families. And the Family Center is essentially a pregnancy resource center.
Nice.
Yeah, we were founded in 2010 by Carissa Figgins as a maternity home for teen moms.
Okay.
We're in that programming. The maternity home opened in 2013. We served approximately 80 moms and babies between 2013 and 2020. And then in 2020, we revamped our programming a little bit to better fit the needs of our community.
Sure. So really, this is for teenage mothers that are needing some assistance with pregnancy.
Well, before the maternity home was teen moms 19 and younger. Now it could be anybody. We have moms in our Children's Center who are about my age, who just have little ones. We have some teen moms. We have married couples. We have single moms. We have couples who are cohabitating. It could really be anybody. We have a lot of single moms participating in both of our programs.
Yeah. So daycare, but run in a very different fashion.
Sure.
This is charitable, really, from an organization perspective.
Yep. We're not a for-profit daycare.
Yeah. So there's a little bit of a difference there then, right? Isn't there? Yeah. So what do you think some of the differences really are that make it a little bit of a different environment?
Well, it starts for a lot of our families completely free for the first year, which is totally unheard of.
Yeah, well, daycare costs are pretty expensive.
Yes.
Yeah.
Payroll is very expensive. We know that. We plan for that. We budget for that. We fundraise for that. But we do pay our childcare providers more than your typical daycare does.
Okay.
We believe in investing in our employees in that
Love
way.
that.
Yeah, for sure. We have a great team over at the Children's Center. That's in St. Charles, right next to Chicken and Pickle.
Okay.
Yep. And then
and turnover in that industry is not an easy thing. I mean, there's a lot of turnover.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, for sure.
Higher pay obviously helps a little bit in that way, right?
We're hoping that will. And if we hire an employee who has a kiddo who's in we say conception to kindergarten, or for the daycare, 6 weeks to going into kindergarten, whether they're 5 or 6. If she has a kiddo and we hire her, she gets free care as well.
Wow.
So we never charge her.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Gives a little bit of a job at the same point in time.
Sure.
There you go.
It's a lot of money back in her budget.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. Providing that resource as well. So, so with you guys being a non-for-profit daycare and really resource center for
families with young kiddos.
There you go. So that's a big deal. And so funding is obviously a majorly important item here. So how do you get funding?
Our funding is almost 99% donor funded.
Okay.
Individuals, churches, organizations. We are a funding agency of the CCRB, of the Community and Children's Resource Board.
Okay.
That's a taxpayer funded entity here in St. Charles County.
Mm-hmm.
We get a little bit from them, but mostly it's...
Well, I mean, 99%. You're really relying heavily on those donations.
Yeah, for sure.
For sure.
Individuals who give monthly are really, really critical to us. That really helps us budget.
Mm-hmm.
When we have 1 or 2 fundraisers, big fundraisers a year, imagine only getting paid 2 times a year.
Right.
If you were an individual. It can be difficult to budget. Things come up, you might need a new furnace.
Sure.
And so we individual monthly givers are a huge part of what we do, always trying to grow, that funding. But we have a lot of organizations and churches that partner with us. And that means a lot that somebody would budget out of their own pocket or a church and give to us monthly, knowing that that's a huge part of,
right.
keeping our doors open.
Well, at the end of the day, you are a business. I mean, people don't think about nonprofits as a business, but absolutely.
Definitely.
There are still revenues, there are still expenses, and it all has to work itself out, right?
Sure. Oh, yeah. Definitely.
Now, you do pay taxes. That's an interesting line item. People don't think about that.
990s. Yeah.
Amazing, right?
Yep.
Yeah. It's now. Then there's been some news in the recent and in some cities up north about daycares that made millions of dollars.
Oh, yeah.
You could probably do a little bit of good things with those monies, couldn't you?
For sure. Yeah. Give me that money, $99. I could solve the daycare issue multi-county. There would be no federally designated childcare deserts in our region.
Well, I also think you wouldn't do fraudulent transactions with said funds either.
Not, no.
Yeah, there's some other issues going on there. So, but it's, when you're looking at your organization and your mission, what made you get into this endeavor? Yeah.
So I started, got married, had little kids. It was expensive, for daycare. And so Jeremy and I decided that I would stay home. I babysat some friends' kids from home. It was a great, way to provide a little bit for the family, but still stay home with my little ones. And once they went to kindergarten, I decided to do something else with my brain.
Yeah.
And so I actually worked at a little tea shop in Wentzville, Not Jaded. Amazing place. And then COVID happened.
Mm-hmm.
That was 2020 when Blaine went into
Changed
kindergarten.
the world a little bit, didn't it?
They didn't need me. And so we were all home together for a little bit. And then in September of 2020, actually that summer, I saw a job posting for the executive director of a pregnancy resource center in Lincoln County.
Okay.
And I thought, I could do that. I volunteered for nonprofits. I worked for a little school as the director of development, but never gotten paid for anything that I, had done.
Sure.
So I interviewed, got that job, spent 3 years at Oasis in Troy, and then saw the job posting for Sparrow's Nest here in St. Charles County. We live in St. Charles County. I really wanted to work in the community I would be serving. Love Lincoln County. Troy really grew on me. But it's not our community,
right?
So I really wanted to come home and do that at home.
Yeah, be part of the community that you're part of, which is awesome. So, so all right, with 100% of I'm going to say 100%, but you said 99% of your funds coming from charitable donations. Let's talk a little bit about that, because I don't think that everyone understands some of the ways that you can give back to the communities. And I'm a big believer in charitable organizations should receive tax breaks. I think charitable organizations, when you donate money to charities, you should get a tax break. I'm a big, carrot over the stick in this term, right? From an individual taxation perspective, because I think we should incent people to give more. And one of the ways you can do that is if you have required minimum distributions, for example. You can actually use your RMD, and you can actually not pay federal tax on anything that is done through a donation. So for those folks that are experiencing RMDs that you don't need that money, but you want to do something that gives back to the community, you could potentially do that on a monthly basis. Using your RMD, send that check right out of your fund over to an entity like the Sparrow's Nest and provide that charitable donation, and it is actually 100% income tax free. So that's kind of cool. But you also do a little bit of a step further there with the state of Missouri because of what you do. Talk to us a little bit about the tax credit. Yeah.
So the state of Missouri has a tax credit program. There's lots of different ones, but ours is particularly for pregnancy resource centers. Our family center is a pregnancy resource center. We have free pregnancy testing. We have an ultrasound machine where we do free early ultrasounds. Our nurse practitioner midwife volunteer performs those. We have our Sparrow shop, which is our material resource center, where our clients, they participate in programming, they earn participation points, they can purchase material items out of the store. But for donors, when they donate $100 or more accumulative through a calendar year, could be monthly giving, could be one lump sum, they can apply for and receive a 70% tax credit on that donation. So it's not a federal deduction, but that's still applicable. It's not a state deduction, but that's still applicable. It's an actual tax credit to their income taxes for the state of Missouri. Yeah. So the state of Missouri is helping for funding this resource by giving this tax credit. That's an amazing thing. Now, obviously, you have to apply for that and you have to do some things to keep that in place. So as an entity,
Yeah.
we have to provide reporting to the state every year. We reapply. We're approved through its Department of Social Services. But yeah, that's, we do all that. So
now with the, there's a lot on the news lately, and I've talked to a lot of the different, politicians in the area, and we are looking at making Missouri potentially eliminating the state income tax, which, there's other states that have done this, a handful, 10 or, 15, there's not a ton of them, but there are some states that do not have the state income tax. So does that affect you?
yes, well, for sure. It would affect the tax credit.
Yeah.
So any individual income tax no longer would we be able to issue because there wouldn't be income tax, right? So no tax credit there. It would still apply to corporate giving, which that I suppose would become our new focus for, donorship for the tax credit. But hopefully, if we as individuals have more money that we take home in our paychecks, then we will decide to be more generous with the money that we have.
Well, I think that that's a big deal. I always say I want to control, and I want my money going in the place that I feel is important, right? Not to that slush fund, if you will, right? We don't know who's doing what, but we know that this organization does things based on my objectives, things I believe in. So I want to, exactly. And when you have the ability to contribute to a mission-minded objective, it gives you the ability to feel like the money that you want to give is going to the place where you want it to go.
Absolutely.
It's a big difference.
Getting 70% of your essentially you're getting 70% of your taxes that you've already paid in. You have to write a check to someone. Either you're paying in and maybe you've created it so it balances out and your, tax bill for the state is $0 every year. Sometimes you have to pay in. You have to write a check to someone. I would rather write a check to an organization that I am mission-minded with. I believe in their mission. I know what they're doing. I see the effectiveness in the community versus having to write a check to Missouri DOR.
Absolutely. And I always tell people this is why I don't want government involved in things. Healthcare, is it a disaster? Yeah, it truly is a disaster. But alleviating the middleman of the insurance companies and replacing it with the U.S. government, that doesn't sound like a great idea to me.
Yeah.
Not to get us too kind of off topic here. But it just, I'm a big believer in less is more, and give people choices and incent people to be able to create a more giving type of a mindset.
Oh, for sure. And I believe that people are and can be very generous,
Absolutely.
especially if you've walked that path, if you were a single mom or, you had kiddos at a young age. Whenever I go and talk to a group, I always ask, raise your hand if you know someone who worked literally just to pay for daycare. Everyone. I get a lot of grandparents come up to me and say, if I hadn't been able to babysit, for my kids and my grandkids, I don't know what they would have done. They would have, been working just to pay for daycare. Daycare is incredibly expensive. In St. Charles County, we have a lot of daycare or childcare resources. There are some, moderately priced ones. There's low priced daycares. We can talk, about quality, but we're not going to get into that. And then there are some very high end, amazing, probably magical experiences for the kids that are more than private high school.
Sure.
Twice as much as private high school.
So what is the going rate I have no idea. My kiddos are 20 and 17. So our days of daycare are behind us. But what is the cost of a daycare in today's terms? I have no idea.
Yeah. On average, they're probably going to be paying $1,600 a month for daycare, depending on where you're at. Some of the higher end ones are $2,000 a month.
Holy cow. So we're about double where I was. Yeah.
It's very expensive.
Yeah. Well, and I remember that decision, right? Because when we were raising our children, looking at coming home from the hospital going, oh my gosh, now what? And I remember asking my father, I said, Dad, how do you afford to have a child? I don't understand. And my dad just looked at me, laughed. This isn't funny. This is a serious conversation. He goes, Chris, you just figure it out. It just kind of works out. And it's crazy, but I remember that to this day, that's the exact conversation we had. And it does work itself out, but you have to change some things.
Oh.
You just do.
Yep. And all the things that come along with having an infant, diapers and wipes and formula,
so much.
Formula, all kinds of things. There are, WIC, there's childcare subsidy, SNAP benefits. There's all kinds of things to help, those lower income families. Childcare subsidy comes, down from federal to state. And it's really kind of been a mess in Missouri, for a while. We don't participate in subsidy. We would rather for our affordable program, charge less than what a family would be paying if they receive subsidy and not even have to mess with all of the state, things. We are a licensed childcare facility. We go through all of the licensing, the inspections, all of that. But we just decided not to mess with subsidy.
Sure.
Yeah.
Because you can do it in a little bit of a different way and still accomplish the same objective or really better.
Yeah. So our affordable program is $700. It ranges between $800 and $700 a month per kid. If the child is 2 or older and potty trained, it's $700 a month, which is half or less than the county average.
Now, is this offered to everybody in the community?
We do some income, I guess, research on the family.
Sure.
We really want to make sure those spots, the free spots especially, that's our parent participation program. Parents participate in up to 4 hours a week of case management. We have a program that we call parent education, which is a lot like parents as teachers, except they are in our center. The parent is working with their own child on emerging milestones or developmental delays. It's a lesson plan that we create, we supervise. The parents that have been participating in that really love it. They see the value. They get to come to school once a week with their kiddo. They get to spend time with their kiddo's friends. They get to know the people who are working with their kids every single day. We're a little family. It's not just drop off, pick up, you're in, you're out. You really don't know the people who are caring for your kid every day. We know each other, which is absolutely incredible. So that's the parent participation program. Completely free for the first 12 months. After 12 months, it's sliding scale based on a family's ability to pay. Well,
I assume there had to be some kind of income kind of in there because at the end of the day, you're on a mission here of it's not a profit business. It's a charitable business. You're trying to make sure you can solve a problem in our community.
Yeah, the families who participate in our program, most of them literally couldn't afford to work if they had to pay for childcare, even with subsidy, which can still be costly. So if they're not working, if they're receiving all the different benefits, there's lots out there, really who is fitting that bill is the taxpayer.
Sure.
And so our desire is to be able to give parents the resources, give parents the means to be able to provide for their family in a way that may not in the future require them to be on all the different types of assistance. And in my experience, most of the families that we work with, that's what they want.
Absolutely.
They really want to see their family level up. They want to see success for themselves. Sometimes they're in school, sometimes they're kind of starting at a starter, job somewhere, but they want to level up. They want to get a degree, whatever it is. And so in our case management, that's individualized. We work with them on goals. One of their goals is always a financial goal. And then it's usually a kid goal and a goal for herself, for the client. And
I love that.
That continues. The case management doesn't end after a year. Even the parent participation part doesn't have to end after a year. We want to give them the tools they need to succeed.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. Now, curriculum-wise, do you guys have a curriculum that you guys have to work to and manage to? You mentioned a little bit on there with some of your programs.
Yeah, we use, Loom Institute, who is also Youth in Need. They have an online curriculum that actually is really, really good. And so that's what we use with the parents working with their kiddos. Yeah.
Gotcha.
But it's mostly from the kids' experience day to day. It's very play-based.
Yeah.
We do a lot of art. We do a lot of, just manipulatives and play-based. When kids don't know necessarily that they're learning, they learn so much more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's awesome. And I think it's great what you're doing there. And it's got to be kind of fun.
Oh, it's so much fun.
Yeah, going to work
love
every day.
Visiting. Oh, yeah. Walking in and there's just this big group of hugs. As soon as I walk in, Miss Katie. And and the babies. My kiddos aren't babies anymore. So I like to really spend time. We have 4 infants under 1 over there right now. And so just watching them grow.
Yeah.
There's one little girl over there that reminds me a lot of my daughter. She just looks like her. She's just this tiny little peanut. And I just love to hold her. And she's just so smiley. And
you better be careful here, or else you're going to have another kiddo running around your house here. Jeremy's going to...
No more kids. Maybe more cats.
There you go.
No more kids.
Yeah, well, once you get to a certain age, it's pretty tough to figure this out again, right? You're like, man, you'd be starting all over,
Truly.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't even know they'd be going to the children's center probably, but, because I know the ladies over there, I fully trust them.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
It's just, gosh, the time goes so fast though, with kiddos. It's just crazy how that works. Ours are 20 and 17, so very independent, right? Yeah. Girlfriends now, which is crazy. And, off on their own, doing their own thing, going to school and stuff. But man, no more. They retired from their sports, which is another whole little milestone.
It's a lot of time back.
It is a lot of time back, and at the time when you're in these sports programs, you're thinking, seriously, another out of town tournament or whatever. And it's frustrating, but I'm telling you that time does not come back.
No.
So take advantage of it, folks, because one day it'll be gone and you don't get it back until there's grandkids. And then it's kind of cool, probably to another level. I'm not there yet. Let's keep that conversation
many years
off for more years, right? Not quite 10, but somewhere.
Yeah, 5, 6.
Yeah, 5 would be good.
Graduate college.
That's right. Let's get through there. That's right. But you never get that time back. So it's really cool that you are able to help families progress and enjoy
and they're a part
critical
of it.
piece.
They're a part of the journey.
Yeah, it's huge. It's absolutely huge. So, all right. So donation being a big focus. One of the things that I know you guys do is fundraisers, right?
Yes.
And so I had the wonderful opportunity, great experience, the gala that I went to over at the golf club, Old Hickory. Thank you. Great venue for a great cause. And I think you guys do some fun things to kind of have some fun showing about what your mission's all about, right?
Yeah. We have done an annual dinner. It's been called a gala soiree. I kind of changed it to banquet, little less formal.
Yeah.
In my experience, most people like to kind of just wear business casual. Getting dressed up it's fun,
sure,
sometimes. So,
can be.
Yeah.
I'm a casual guy though, so.
I like both. I'm a girl though, so, March, not to segue, March 21st is the Mayor's Charity Ball here in St. Charles County. We are a recipient this year. The theme is Brat Pack. And so I'm really struggling to find a dress. However, that fundraiser every year is phenomenal. The food is amazing. It's at the convention center. Highly recommend going. It is
that's a cool time. I would dress up for a theme-oriented thing, right? Just buying just a normal kind of suit tie thing, that's just not me, right? But doing it for something like that that's got a unique flair to it, I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah, that one will be fun. Can't wait. Every year, I love to go to that one.
Yeah,
but our banquet, so this year, Thursday, August 27th, we're doing something a little different, calling it a Toast and Giggle. And what it's going to be is kind of a roast, but in a very good taste of our founder. So if Chrissa, Mike Elam is our MC. Founding board members, Mark Hollander is one of our founding board members, just bringing back some of that original team who started Sparrow's Nest. This is our 15th year anniversary this year. And we're just kind of going to tell fun stories. And, Chrissa has a great sense of humor. It's not really going to be making fun of her, but I know that there are some really good stories about her out there.
Well, I think, roasts are always people, if you think about making fun of it, but at the end of the day, these are people that founded a charitable organization. How much fun can you really make fun of on them, right?
I know that there are fun stories.
Now, fun stories is different, right? But it's hard to poke fun at somebody who probably doesn't have a lot of character flaws, right?
No, and who founded a maternity home for teens.
You're not making fun of that, but fun stories along the way, I am sure, because we all have those.
Oh yeah,
right.
Sure.
We all have those.
Yep, I've heard a few. I have a volunteer who used to be our business manager who, I'll be in and I'll do something and she'll see me. She's like, "Oh, that's Chrissa. You guys are so much alike," And I didn't know Chrissa before. I started as the executive director, so that's fun to see how similar we are. And just some of the things.
Absolutely. So, all right. So that's something to look forward to, right? And and I obviously, if these tax credit kind of things and this whole income tax kind of thing goes away, your business isn't going to really change too much because you're still going to be doing this through donations.
Oh yeah, for sure.
It's just you're not going to be able to use that.
The tax credit is just an incentive.
That's right.
And we do have people who donate. I think maybe. Mostly to get the tax credit, but they're also mission minded.
Sure.
The benefit is great, to the donor, but I believe that we'll still have our donor base.
I think so too. Well, and again, like you mentioned, if sales tax goes away, you theoretically have more funds available to you, or the income tax you sell. Sales tax won't go away. That'll probably go up.
They always make up.
That's how. Well, they have to. We have to. Right.
Or personal property.
We still have to have things. Yeah. Everyone hates personal property.
Yep.
And I do too.
A lot of good stuff though.
That's the thing. So that's the problem with any kind of taxes, right? Programs still have to exist. Your program is very valuable to the community. It still needs to exist. We have a lot of other charitable conversations we have with a lot of other folks in the area. Those programs still have to exist. How they're going to get funded, charitable donations is great.
Yeah.
But sometimes we need communities to fund. And so
sales tax is one of those things where we choose where we shop, we choose what we buy.
That's right.
You know, we choose what municipality we want to shop in because they have different rates, you know. And so that one, I always say, like, tax the vices too. You know? Tax alcohol, tax cigarettes, tax marijuana, tax gambling.
Which we don't do that near enough. Sorry, potheads, but we don't.
Well,
you know, it's just, it's weird because it's federal and state, you know. All the weird things there. But those are the kinds of things. And when you have those things and those programs have to get funded somewhere. And I don't think anyone is blind to think that, you know, just you should have no taxation. No. Property tax is a good example of it, though, because we all hate it. Like, it feels weird. But at the end of the day, if you eliminate it, something else has still got to fund the schools and the police departments and the fire departments. You don't want to give a credit card to the 911 operator. You know, that's just not going to happen. So, but we'll see where it goes. Who knows? But ultimately, great causes are still going to find ways to be successful and fund programs that add value to the communities right here. And Sparrow's Nest is definitely one of them. So,
can I talk about more about our fundraisers?
Please do.
Okay, so we're doing a brand new one this year. So every February, we have our Princess Dance, which is a daddy-daughter dance. This past February 7th at Old Hickory, it was our 13th annual. It is magical.
That's awesome.
Lots of places do, you know, daddy-daughter dances, sweetheart dances. Ours is the premier daddy-daughter dance in the region. Our princesses are amazing. Like, it is a beautiful, beautiful experience. I always, you know, when the princesses come in, we have two. There's the matinee and the moonlight, same day, different times. I always get weepy because they're so sweet. And when Elsa walks into her song, the girls just squeal. Elsa's still the favorite. It's amazing. But people say, what about Moms and Sons? And a few years ago, we did a superhero carnival, and it didn't catch. It didn't, stay on. It might've been fun, but that was a mother-son thing. This year, November, after the election, so like second week or so, I am doing a mother-son dining etiquette dinner date night.
Oh, interesting.
So, Village Cafe in Lake St. Louis.
There's some good lessons for these kiddos to learn here.
Table manners for boys.
Man.
Huge. And also
can I send my boys? Is that allowed?
Totally.
All right, Stacy, we're going to do this for the kiddos.
If he's old enough to just sit at the table.
Yeah, well, they're 20 and 17.
Coach,
so
they hopefully are.
Totally. But they eat, like, you know, dinosaurs. So what a cool idea.
Yes, I'm really looking forward to that one. I even had a lady say, can I bring my son-in-law? I was like, absolutely.
Nice.
For sure. That one's going to be really fun. I'm looking forward to that. And then June 12th, it's a Friday, is our Luncheon for Littles. That one's really our focus on our Pregnancy Resource Center, on the Family Center, just really talking about vision casting. So it'll be our second one. So a little bit of vision casting, a little bit of successes, you know, stories, that kind of thing. And
I love it.
That'll be at Chapel of the Cross Lutheran in St. Peter's.
Well, folks, this is awesome. Thank you so much for this great information. I love it. We could talk all day about causes that matter to you, right? It's so important. So, people can find out more about you online.
thesparrowsneststl.org. You can donate on our website as well.
Perfect. And I'm going to put the link right here on our episode as well. So, Katie, thank you so much for coming in today.
My pleasure.
Folks, non-for-profit organizations are just that. They are organizations. They have a mission. That mission is dedicated to support the community. And it's great to give to those organizations, especially those local that are doing things that you believe in, that support the mission, the same mission you hold dear to your hearts and souls. It's important to be able to give back to causes that matter to you. And we want to make sure our money goes to those organizations in the most efficient way possible. Donation strategies give you the ability to donate funds in an efficient way. Sure, tax deductions are nice, but in today's world, standard deduction is where they apply. And that is very seldom available to many individuals unless you have a lot of itemized deductions. And with the standard deduction being so high today, it's becoming far and fewer that people are able to take advantage of charitable donations and to get that deduction on a federal level. Now, statewide, there's differences, especially with Katie was talking about the tax credit in the state of Missouri that is available for the Sparrow's Nest, but that's not for all charitable donations, okay? So it's great that credit is available in the state of Missouri to help support a community foundation you care about. But on the federal level, it's tough to see those deductions take place. So by doing things like donor advised funds, you have an opportunity to use those funds in a more effective way because you can lump donations into 1 year, but then create giving strategies that make a difference over multiple years, perhaps months, all kinds of different avenues. Required minimum distributions is another key way to make sure your charitable giving can be done tax efficiently. If you have an RMD, folks, those that are over 73 right now are RMD age. So if you're not taking all of your distributions out of your IRA, the government's going to force you to do so. They want their fair share, right? Remember signing that contract? Of course you don't. I don't remember signing that contract either, but it's going to affect me. My RMD age is 75. It's increasing. But for those at 73 and up, that is the current age for RMDs. One strategy you can do is use your RMD to create a qualified charitable donation. Doing so alleviates the tax burden on that withdrawal. Very cool strategy for those that are charitably inclined. It's a wonderful thing to give back to your community to support causes that are near and dear to you. None of us like paying taxes. We would love to be more charitable with our foundations and our funds and the communities that are important to us. Giving back to our communities and doing so in the most tax efficient manner possible creates opportunities to meet your needs and at the same time support the communities that we care about. We want to make sure we do that in the most efficient way possible, making sure we stretch our funds out to their full potential. Very important, and I love learning about the various aspects of charitable contributions and charitable donations and really charities in our community. It is so neat to hear how they operate, their mission, and it's always a sense of passion that drives them. So check out the Sparrow's Nest. Make sure you understand how to make your funds go as long as possible. Hope you enjoyed the episode. Tune in each and every week, Sunday mornings, Serenity Wealth Now show, and we will see you next week.
Serenity Now! This is Serenity Wealth Now with Chris Cooper. Request a free copy of Chris's latest book, The New Holistic Retirement, by visiting serenitywealthnow.com.
Investment advice offered through Fortis Capital Advisors.